Who I believe to be the true birthers of choosing beggars, it's entitled parents.
Our first one is from Fat Dogs. My mother bought an Android TV box that can stream any new show or movie for free, which I told her was technically illegal, but her response was, "Streaming isn't illegal because we aren't downloading the content." And I said alright, and left it. Turns out our internet service provider isn't too keen on this though, and throttles our whole network to unbearable speeds when the box is in use. However, the box will hog all the throttled bandwidth, so the movie will stream, but every other device will be kicked off the network. When I told my mother about this, or asked them to just pause for a bit so I'm able to get any work done, her response is always, "I pay for the internet and it seems to be working, so you can deal with not having internet while I'm watching TV." I've been dealing with this for 2 weeks now. I was disqualified from 2 job interview technical tests, had to plead to retake a midterm with my professor, and often get booted when I'm on a call with my girlfriend whom is long distance, going to school, and we only get 2 or 3 hours to talk a day. When they left for a bit today, I did some troubleshooting and found that a VPN fixes this problem. So when they came back, I told her that a VPN fixes the problem and they should use one anyway since their activities are illicit, and it also helps keep their information safe. Her response, unsurprisingly, was, "I bought the box to stop paying for subscriptions. I'm not going to pay for something when the TV works just fine. You can live without internet." I thought she'd at least be reasonable, and I was going to offer to pay for half of the yearly subscription to ExpressVPN, $100 a year, but instead, I was just shocked and left. Shortly after, she came to me and told me that I should just pay for the VPN because I'm the one who would be using it anyways. I told her that's not how it works. I wouldn't be using it, but I'll split the cost with her. She didn't like that answer because then she starts going off saying, "You're 22 and don't pay for anything. You should start at least paying for rent and to use our internet." I know that statement doesn't sound too bad, Reddit, and I agree, taken out of context, it's probably fine, but here's some background for context. My parents told me that I can live rent-free until I graduate college, which led me to go to the local university to save money and not have to pay for room and board. My tuition, on the other hand, is just barely covered through a small sum of money my grandfather left me when he passed, but the account holder's name is my mother's. If that doesn't cover my tuition, I would pay myself out of pocket. My brother, on the other hand, moved out to go to college, and his financials are a different story. My mother fully pays for his tuition, room, and board, and groceries so he doesn't have to work while he goes to school. The tuition and room and board together for him are almost 3 times what my tuition alone costs, and yet she pays that without batting an eye. Anyways, to continue the story, my mother continued going off, telling me that starting now I'll have to pay rent. It'll be $1,200 a month. I have to pay for the VPN so I can access the internet. Also, I'll have to pay for the internet since you're the only one who uses it anyways. And finished off her list of demands by stating, "Also, the trust won't be covering your tuition anymore, so you'll need to pay me back the $26,000 that it's paid so far." I was silent and just left. I broke down into tears when I got to my car and just started driving. I haven't talked to her since, and I'm just fuming that she would hold my inheritance ransom. I have 2 months till I graduate and was planning to just yeet out of here the day I do, but every month it's something else that's my fault and I have to pay for. It started off with groceries. I now buy over half the groceries and make dinner for me and my parents 4 days a week because you should start making us dinner since you should learn to cook. Then when I got my tax refund, she made me give her half because I did your taxes so I deserve your tax refund. Which I didn't ask her to do. I just came home from work one day and she already filed them. Same thing with the stimulus checks during COVID. You shouldn't have gotten the stimulus check. It should be mine since I'm your mother. After they didn't qualify because their income was too much. Me and my father are going to see a show tonight. He sees the stark contrast in the way she treats me compared to my brother, and has even told me before that, well, I know she treats you differently than everyone else, and you just need to not cause a ruckus or stir anything up with your mother, and just leave as soon as you graduate. But he wouldn't actually stand up to her or oppose her on anything, so whatever she says goes. Update 1. Thanks to everyone's suggestions and responses, my phone crashed with all the notifications. Also, in response to checking my social security number and financials, I know they aren't draining my accounts for one reason or the next. She isn't in debt or whatnot. Her and my father, married, have amassed a small fortune where money won't be an issue for the rest of their lives. Also, as for the trust, I'm not allowed to touch it except for paying tuition and only tuition until I'm 25, so I can't drain it and run. Also, I just silently paid for a VPN and put it on the boxes last night. I haven't talked to or seen my mother since last night. I'm just going to keep my head down and try to survive another 2 months. I'm hoping that nothing will come of it till after graduation, in which I'll be long gone. I'm deep into my senior final project in college and can't just uproot and leave because I won't have anywhere to set up my desktop to finish it. I could if school wasn't in person this semester. I was planning to move out of state and live with my girlfriend this year, but the college pushed it to in-person way earlier than anyone expected. The fact that your mom feels so entitled and acts like next thing you know she's going to be demanding your life because it seems like everything you do she's entitled to because she birthed you? I wish you the best going forward. And our final one is by Moonlight Maroon. My mother and I don't get along. I've tried for the sake of my husband, but this last incident was the end of the line for me. My mother-in-law has always had this overprotective aspect about her when it came to her kids, which has significantly grown worse with time. Her reasoning behind this behavior is because she felt her mother always took the side of her significant other, and so she vowed to only care about her children and not their partners. That didn't bother me initially. I figured if I was on her good side, nothing to really worry about. Until you realize this woman doesn't have a good side. She would say rude comments to all of her children's significant others. She would always gossip about my sister-in-law's boyfriend, saying he was a drunk and always took her daughter's money, even though her daughter didn't have a job and the boyfriend would be the one paying for the apartment her daughter lived in and all of her clothes and food. She hated my brother-in-law's now ex-girlfriend because she was Chinese. She would state things like, "dirty and gross," and wait for it, "gave me the coronavirus." I have no doubt in my mind that my mother-in-law is part of the reason why they ended up breaking up. I never once saw my brother-in-law stand up to his mom regarding any rude comments she ever said about his girlfriend. He would simply turn away and ask everyone else to handle her. Like, really, dude? I never understood her thought process because the things she would come up with would be outright delusional. It was only a matter of time before that crazy would make its way towards me, and boy did it. When we were at her house, she blew up one night because I wasn't doing anything. I didn't help clean up or anything, but neither did anyone else. Apparently, I needed to clean off the dinner table and wash the dishes for 7 people while at her house. Even my brother-in-law agreed, even though he will literally sit on his phone the entire time while everyone else does prep work or cleans. So the next night I did it, even though my husband protested against it because I was a guest at her house. She would be in these weird moods where she wouldn't even acknowledge me when we came over. She just went straight to hugging my husband and saying how much she missed him while giving me a "who's this bitch" look. My husband would sometimes force me to initiate a hello and hug before it came to the point where it was like, why should I when she doesn't even like me? It started to get worse when I did something. Even while at my own home, mind you, she would flip out and start yelling, and all of them would need to calm her down. When she would be at our house, she apparently would expect to be treated with the utmost respect, which is where my petty ass came back with a "no. You do not get to be disrespectful or callous to me in my own home." The icing on the cake is when my mom was with us and we stopped by to say goodbye before heading out. She was talking to my mom, asking my mother all of these weird questions about her name and everything. She took pictures with my mom and then looked at me and then snapped. She started going off about how I'm the reason her family has so many problems. She's been through hell because she hasn't been able to see her son for so long. I was in utter shock. I didn't know what to say. I was simply looking at my husband like, what the fuck is going on? Then she gets in my mother's face, asking a bunch of questions about why we got married, telling my mom that I take money from them and my husband, that she's make me take money away from my husband and I'm a bad person. My mother didn't say a damn word, but my heart sank when she started to cry, because my mom had gone through hell and back with an evil, vindictive mother-in-law for her 35 years of marriage to my dad. My husband defended me and my mom, even with my mother-in-law screaming at me that she was going to call the police on me and put me in jail. He tried to talk to his mom about her behavior and that it was unacceptable, but she refuses to apologize and believes she did no wrong. Her whole reasoning for snapping like that was because her friend told her that women will sometimes marry men and have them kidnapped and killed to take their benefits. She does not think my mother is my real mom and that she's helping me in the process of killing my husband. At this point, I'm convinced my mother-in-law belongs in a mental institution. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law believe that my mother-in-law did no wrong and that she had every right to behave that way. They keep telling my husband that this is your family and that he should put them before me. I told my husband that because of how disrespectful she was, I do not want her at our house anymore. If he would like to go spend time with his family, he can freely do so by going to visit them. Is it wrong of me for being tired of treated like I'm a disposable to my in-laws? For asking for something as simple as common decency? I've never acted out or caused a scene in front of them. I've done so much for these people and they don't see it. Till this day, I'm still excluded from the family circle because I refuse to stand for this when behavior is rude and condescending. It's not wrong or rude of you at all to put your foot down and want some respect, especially from your mother-in-law on that side of the family. The least they could do is respect their own family member's decision, being your husband's, to be with you, instead of trying to constantly berate and belittle you. I'm sorry you have to deal with that, but I'm glad at the same time you won't be dealing with her anymore. Alright, that's enough entitlement for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Entitled Parents. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons, have a great day and stay safe out there.